We're going to give it a few more minutes. Let a few more people join in. Uh, I'm not planning on dragging this out for a long time, though. If you have any questions, please put them in capital letters in the remarks. And that way I can see it a whole lot easier. I'm getting older. My glasses. Scared City, silly. Hey, y'all. It's just me for right now. Terry Foster. Hey, guys. Jay Fritz. Is he asleep? No, I'm not asleep. Hello, Chris, Elizabeth, Salma, Francesca. Did it again. Right place at the right time. You can hear me now, right? This time, not on my I was on my laptop earlier. Terry Foster, have you talked to Mark? How is he doing? No, I have not talked to Mark anytime recently. Tammy Bledsoe, hello, hello. And we'll probably give it about another couple minutes if you want to get anything, something to drink or whatever. We're just going to talk a little bit about what's happened recently with Scott, and really, really sad, really sad. And then, so let's give it about another minute. Yeah, the whole thing with the news broke out. I was my friend Chris Ronhart was the one that told me. He just texted me and said that Scott Carpenter had passed away, and it totally caught me off guard completely. I had last I had last been in conversation with Scott a few months ago, and we were having discussions about the Florida conference, and him and I were just doing a little bit of talking about some of the stuff that I had seen there, and he was sharing his own personal thoughts. So, man, I'm telling you, it uh, it hit me pretty hard, and so I went to Scott's channel, and I looked at what he had last recently posted. I had checked in with his channel from time to time, and I stay up to date with what he's discussing. And because I don't follow a lot of people, but I will touch bases on his channel from time to time. And I had seen one of the videos he had published just days ago. I find that it was very oddly and weirdly ironic how he was discussing EMF, and he had went out and purchased an EMF meter and was taking it out on the trail with him whenever he used to do hike and whenever he would do the hikes. And in the video, he was discussing, he was discussing what his personal experiences were when he was out there on the trail, and the meter going off, and and that. So yeah, I know it's just not an easy subject to talk around or about. But anyway, Dad, I wanted to go ahead and I wanted to get some of this stuff out because we have been working on this for a while. I have been making videos for some time, and it's not that I haven't been in the swamp. We're really entering we have entered our very difficult period in Florida, and it's just so brutally hot out there that it's best just to avoid the swamp and not to go out in the swamp during probably the month of July and part of August. Although I do have plans on trying to get out there sometime in the month of August if I can. I do have some equipment that I do need to recover from out there. In the last two videos that I published, if you haven't seen them, please do go have a look at them. Some of the stuff that we did on site out there, we didn't show. I didn't reveal, and I didn't show in the videos. It's part of an experiment that's being done on location. I'm not just ready to tell people what additionally was done out there just yet. I will say the camera on one of the locks on the camera was found when I went back out there with Joey on the second time around. Let's see where it was, if I had one. I don't think I have a lock. We found that it was very interesting, very strange and oddly that the camera that I had put on the lock was not locked, and it was locked and clamped all the way down, but it wasn't seated in the locking mechanism, the hole. You know how it is, you can take a lock, it's a key lock, you can take a key lock and turn it back on, and basically the pin can miss the hole and go on the back side of the lock. Well, that's what happened when we went out there just to check on the camera, and I saw it was still locked, but locked out of the hole. I honestly do not know how in the world that happened because the lock is this close to my face as I'm working the key. I just don't understand how that could have happened. So if you have questions for me, please put them in capital letters so I can see them much more easily. And I'll pause, and it'll capture my attention. So yeah, there's parts of the experiment that were not in the videos that's out there that I don't know how I'm going to, I'm still kind of figuring it out if anything becomes of it or not. So I don't know if I don't know, why'd you even bring it up for then, Chris? I don't know. We'll see. Yeah, and so we're talking about the lock. The lock was locked on the camera and it was locked down, but it wasn't locked. It's just kind of crazy. Okay, so getting back to Scott's video, when I went on his channel, looked at Scott's video, he was talking about EMF. Some things I want to point out to people, and I've had these written down in my private notes. I write private notes all the time about physics and everything like that when it comes to EMF. And a lot of people, when we were trying to tell people that we felt that there was a correlation, and we felt like that we had evidence of correlations between the Knox and the EMF meter and everything like this. And some people thought it was very fascinating. Some people laughed at it. And then they, Bigfoot has Bigfooting has, a radio to talk to you or whatever, and they laugh it up. But that's not the gist of it. When I read comments like that, or I hear comments like that, that tells me how really ignorant people are of what EMF really is. And it doesn't mean anything at all when you're carrying a meter out there and your meters are telling you that there's radio frequency going off around you, or some type of energy going off around you or not. EMF even includes light waves and gamma rays and cosmic rays and brain waves and all these things like this, and it goes across the gamut of the whole entire spectrum. And that's what we're talking about on this right here. So one thing I want to point out real quick to all the people that are on the ground out there in their research area, put out some warnings to you. Okay. And a warning, this is a precursor of events. So please take note. And I'm going to say it again, warning, a precursor of the events. All right, that's how I'm going to state this. If you feel on edge, if you feel tense, antsy, nervous, agitated, impatient, agitation, or feel the feelings of you're going out of control, this is an indication of something starting to go wrong. Okay. Some of the things that you will realize in a neurological sense will be smelling burnt plastic, the smell of ozone, rubber, and even sulfur. All right. These are indications of possible strong magnetic fields moving through your brain, including sparkles of light. Now, how many times have we been out in our area and we've said many a times in our videos that we smelled this ozone smell? And lo and behold, that is part of the neurological responses on EMF waves going through your brain, strong magnetic fields. The EMF basically is a wave, and it rides perpendicular to each other. You have an electrical component and you have a magnetic component to it, kind of like a cross, and they go opposite each other. And so I just want to state that right there. And so I find it very interesting how Scott was saying in his video that had he felt like he had a headache, and he came back, took some Tylenol. And some people might feel like this is just a precursor to what happened to him, and maybe this was all going along all the time anyway to begin with. If you feel that way, that's fine. I do think that there is some type of a correlation uh, with the signs and symptoms that I see and researchers dying out there. I've been getting comments. I got some comments saying that I'm next, and not quite that bluntly, but they were phrasing Mark's words, and saying that I would that I'm going to be the next. Uh, uh, I'm in very good health. I do have high blood pressure, but I I feel fine. I'm all right. There is some occasional times that I am out in the woods. I do feel off sometimes mentally, but it could be also because of heat. Um, all right, so I gave out their neurological about the smell, and please everybody, write that down. Go back and review the video. Take those things and take it to heart, and the precursor of events. And if you're coming across those type of events, the best thing you can do, if you like I said, if you feel on the edge, tense, antsy, you're nervous, agitated, impatient, or you feel like the agitation is going out of control, it is best just to leave the area, get out, and just leave the area. All right. So this ties in with what some of the reasons why I have not been going out so much lately is because I've been doing a lot of studying, and some of the stuff that I have been doing and continuation of the work that's involved around EMF is I've purchased one of these also, right? This is going to be part of more of the research work that's involved in trying to get more answers. And so coming along with the spectrum analyzer is more work, more study. You have to understand how to use the spectrum analyzer. You have to understand how to use the equipment and use the device, so you're not going around in circles chasing your tail, and so you can understand how the device is helping you understand what's going on with EMF. And predominantly the meters going from, I want to say it's 50 kilohertz to 6.1 gigahertz. So that's what it's about, and you need a computer to work with it, and that's what I've been doing. I've been doing that studying them and going to be also digging into uh, an RDL, SDR, things like this, and being able to tie in more and more with the revelations that are being revealed at Skinwalker Ranch, and also some of the things that are being discussed in congressional hearings also at the same time. I do feel that we are in um, I do feel that we are in a very I don't know if the word interesting is, I think, overused. I think we're in a very we're in a time that can be described as they call it the fourth turning. The fourth turning is what it's called. And some of the turning events has taken place in the past is the Civil War, the Second World War, and now we're supposedly in the fourth turning, to where a lot of things just like like big societal upheavals, and it involves war, and a lot of times a lot of death. And could this stuff that's been going on with the revelations and congressional testimonies and stuff, is this a correlation, or is this kind of you know something inevitable and something that we can't change? Sorry, didn't get the notification. Remember, put them in caps letters if you have a question for me, okay? Otherwise, it's going to go real fast. I might not see it. And so, uh, okay. So I'm losing my train of thought on it right now. Yeah, and so we were talking about the Skinwalker Ranch, and so there's some things I wanted to share more with you guys also that I haven't revealed also. Um, because you never know when you die. It could come suddenly, just like what happened with Scott. And just wanted to share some things with you folks out there, and some of the points I was drawn. I'm a very scientific minded person, and I just love doing a lot of things. Okay. All right. So this takes me to finding out more of the answers, more questions that can lead to more answers. Okay. The Skinwalker Ranch and the Clearview Ranch and the Rocky Mountain Ranch, also those were named as Clearview, and the Meadow, and I don't know if I can say the state. Skinwalker Ranch, Clearview Ranch, and the Meadow all form a line across the United States. They line up. Area 51, Los Alamos, and the Green Swamp also line up in a straight line all the way across the United States. The Sierra Sounds location, the Mount Wilson Ranch, and the Meadow also line up and go all the way across the United States in a line. The Skinwalker Ranch, the Mount Wilson Ranch, the Los Alamos facility, the Clearview Ranch, and the Bradshaw Ranch oddly all connect together when you draw the lines, and it forms the shape of a pentagon. That was very interesting. And it forms the shape of a pentagon. All right. So I told people I'd revealed some more information out there. If you have an idea of where some of these locations are, you can connect the dots yourself and find some interesting things. Elizabeth Salmon, when is your next expedition? Um, we can't really say when. It's not set in any kind of stone yet, but the the expedition that I would want to do would be the one that goes out west, and I have to get on a plane, and I got to do a whole lot more planning involved. So that would be uh, probably next year. That's what I would think. Florida Lone Wolf, Joey. I didn't know you were on that. I didn't know I was going to be on that either. I tried to go on a little bit earlier today, and because I was just in a talking mood when I just watched Scott's video, and he was talking about some of the very stuff that we were trying to bring up for a long time, and now we won't have any more of his insight no more, and that's unfortunate, and it's sad too. Yep. Yeah, we're losing people left and right out there. Starting to seem like starting to seem like this stuff didn't care for starting to seem like this stuff don't care for religious folks. I've been getting sick a lot this summer. Okay, I think he's just talking. So humid in Florida. Yeah, it's very bad in Florida right now at the moment. And as you know, outside to say, normally we take a little bit of a pause through this month of the year anyway. These 6 weeks is very brutal, and this wouldn't be too advisable to be going out there. And another thing, we've been getting a lot of evening rains, and it's not good for equipment because if you get rained on, you gotta stow away all your equipment and keep it from getting wet. And then if the swamp gets wet, if the swamp gets completely wet, it's really cool. I mean, it's really crazy wild out there when it all gets wet. Unfortunately, the whole entire swamp starts moving, drip, drip, drop, drippy, drop. Everything's moving and making sounds, and it's just it's hard. It's hard to distinguish, movements and things like that. But strangely enough, we came in. Some of our best stuff in the past was that we came in on the tail end of a big rain like that. Also, is when we had a stick thrown in on us one time. I hear there's malaria lurking in Florida and some other new pathogen in the water. Yeah, there's in Florida we have a no-no. In peak summer months, the no-no is you don't go into shallow waters, especially playing to where you can get the amoebas, where kids can play, or you might be tubing on the water and you crash. A lot of people have died from doing this, but they go tubing, they're getting pulled by a boat, and the tube slides near the shore, and then they maybe flip off the inner tube, and they get the water shot right up in their nose, and it goes right into the nose, right up into the brain, via the sinus, cavity, and they get encephalitis and they die. And there's no going back from that. Apparently, once you get this amoeba in your brain, there's no cure. I think all they can do is pretty much put a pillow under your head and watch you and wait for you to die. And so when I was growing up with my kids, that was an absolute no-no. And in my book, when my sons were growing up, to play in and around in lakes and shallow water. I was in the swamp with Beata on Saturday, and we were walking Indy, and we were going towards the river system, and we were just going to go hiking with the dog, and on one spot, we were coming back, and I felt this a little bit off in my head. It seemed like, and I told Beata, I said, "Hey, slow down a little bit. I feel a little off, and maybe it was because I was looking down on the ground, because I'm so accustomed to looking down on the ground all the time for snakes. But there was no snakes. We were on the roadway, a dirt road, and right when we passed a trail area, a side trail area, there was a snap on the side trail where we were. And I told Beata, I said, huh? I said, isn't that funny? I said, I felt a little off right about there, and we heard a snap on the left side. These are the little things that, sometimes you just look at that and you just don't know there's a correlation or not, or maybe you're not feeling, maybe you're feeling the heat's what you may be feeling or something like that. But I just thought it was interesting. I didn't have my meters running. I didn't have a camera with me. Didn't have anything with me. We were just going to hike the dog. And the dog is a pointer. Indy's a pointer. Indy didn't alert to anything like that. So I don't think that there was something maybe over there or not. It was just that, hearing this stuff about Scott later that day kind of made me think on some things. But okay. All right. So it's going on. It's a little past 8 o'clock. I don't want to take up everybody's night. I just want to tell people that we offer Scott Carpenter's family our sincere condolences, and all his friends and all his personal friends and his relatives and his family. And it was a very sad and untimely event. It was really sad to hear that. And so hopefully we'll be getting a chance to head back out in the swamp sometime soon. We'll see. All right. Let me put on my glasses real fast. Okay, Francisca, I don't know about the malaria lurking around out there or not. I do know another. I think Matt. I had bumped into Ron when I was out there when we were just about half mile from the roadway. I bumped into Ron and Lori out there, and they had told me about Matt Larson coming down with uh, some kind of funky, crazy skin thing that can turn into like a deadly bacteria. He had it on his leg, and so I think he got impacted by something, or maybe he had a break in his skin, maybe he had a small break in his skin, and he got it. Because I know he likes to do kayaking too, and maybe something like that happened to him. I don't know. I don't know if he was kayaking that day or not. Sepsis, is that what it was? Sepsis and cellulitis or something like that, I think is what they called it. Let's see. Matt didn't even get out of the truck that day. No, I think he said he was in. Think he said he was in the swamp that day. It doesn't mean it doesn't mean you're traipsing around in water because we say the word swamp or anything like that, But yeah, the mosquitoes are picking up out there. We noticed on Saturday that if you stopped anywhere along the way, the mosquitoes in certain areas were pretty heavy, and so and I think the area was maybe McNeil. I'm unsure. The campsite area, McNeil. I ain't been out there in a while in McNeil's area. All right, so let me see. All right, does anyone have any questions for me, please? All right. Okay. I don't think anybody's got any questions. Maybe they're ready to get back to watch TV. And like I said, um, I haven't. We haven't given up. I haven't given up. So, do you think this is all correlated with the 1.6 gig? Are you going with Chris and Doug H? Carrie Arnold, Scott? Yeah, I will say the strange thing is that um, man, with the passing of Carrie Arnold, oddly going enough like that, and some of the personal conversations that I'd had with Mark in the aftermath, and he had commented to me that he said it was from beneath the ground, and his voice wavered when he said that, like he had a lot of feeling in it, and he told me they're from beneath the ground, beneath the earth, or something like that's what he said. And I think that's kind of funny how the Skinwalker Ranch survey came back also with the Joshua survey from Lunasound that was done at high elevation and extreme low frequency, being able to penetrate the earth and being able to try to see what's beneath the surface. And so strange, strange. Yeah. And so, okay, so getting into the answer, do I think this is all correlated with the 1.6 gigs? There's a lot of times that I feel like the 1.6 gigahertz, it is programmed. It is programmed. I have it all programmed to scan for the 1.6. So that will be going on in the swamp, in the green swamp, and continued work, because I ain't playing around with that stuff, because there's so many correlations from what I saw with the green swamp to the ranch as well. The only thing that I personally don't think that I've seen with my own two eyes, and the correlations with some of the stuff out there at the ranch and in that swamp, is I haven't seen the orbs like what they see out there. But it's not like I spend oodles and noodles of time trying to provoke things, like they got the money to shoot rockets, and they can stay on the ranch all day long. I don't have that kind of an operation set up. But um okay, so getting back to the 1.6, many times I think the 1.6 is seems like it's man-made, seems like it's coming from man-made. Many a times I do think there is some kind of surveillance going on, and I also do think that it's I've went back and reviewed some of their videos with Travis, and when Travis had lost his train of thought when he was in the trailer, he was discussing. I want to say it was in season two, and he was in the trailer. They were trying to correlate this 1.6 gigahertz frequency, and he was mentioning that it was coming from all over the place. They were trying to direction find it, and he said it seemed to be moving, it seemed to be coming from all over the place, and so you know I have long felt that the Earth has had portals on it. I don't get into a lot of those type of discussions on the channel, but I just felt like there was sure as heck some type of physical evidence. It seemed like that there was entrance ways, gateways that was going on. We always call it the veil, and how things can come and go out of the veil, and that's how we always described it and everything like that. And then the findings that they had on the Skinwalker Ranch with the lidar scanners and everything is very, very revealing. And I think this is all part of the turning, and more information. We are living in a very we could be living in a very turbulent time, people, over the next this decade. It could get very ugly, it could get very changey, it could get upside down, flip around, all around. uh I've long thought that the Earth has had visitors, extraterrestrial, interdimensionals. I have long thought that this was going on for the longest time. In the Bigfooting world, it is shunned and you're laughed at. But I've gotten thick skin, and I don't care about getting laughed at, and I don't care what people uh, think at me when they do want to laugh at me like that, and it just tells me a lot of their true ignorance that they just don't that they just do not realize what people that do this work, what we are dealing with out there. And yes, you can die, and and yeah, so I'm geared up for the 1.6, the 1.6 frequency. I'm geared up for that. We're gonna go checking, we're gonna go hunting, and we're gonna see if there's a correlation, because it's all about getting down to the facts and truth. And the facts are a little bit stronger than truth, because truth is when you have a belief in a fact, sort of, and and a fact is all about proving it, you know. Okay, you got your head on straight, Chris. Don't pay them any money. Yeah, I'm not. I'm just gonna put it out there, folks. I'm gonna put it out there. Yep, I'm very comfortable in my skin. I don't care what they think. What cares about is getting the information out. That's what matters. Getting the information out, finding the truth, finding the discoveries, and getting it out there. And don't give a damn what people think. That's just the bottom line. All right. So are there any more questions? Any more questions? I think those two popped up when I was getting ready to sign off, but there'll always be something that I'll forget about it. Be like, damn, I should have spoke about that. Oh, very interesting thing before I let everybody go today. I watched a Bigelow video today. That was I watched a Bigelow video today that was not publicly released. It's the link when it's not turned on public when you post it on YouTube. Um, what's it called? I can't remember what it's called. But you can upload the video and you can keep it private, so to speak. Anyway, I was watching it from within the group, and Mr. Bigelow was talking about some of the things that was going on at the ranch when he owned Skinwalker Ranch. And this will knock your socks off. And he had mentioned that they were doing some experiments from within inside the trailer there, and that they were discussing the shadow guys. They were discussing the shadow guys, how they were able to go, how they were able, his team was able to see them, and how they were able to go through walls and penetrate barriers, and that apparently this shadow thing was inside the trailer, and it was in the doorway, and it was in the silhouette of what he said was a Sasquatch. It was silhouetted like a big Sasquatch in the doorway in the trailer. Now, can you imagine seeing that? So either you don't believe the people that tell you these things, or you do believe them. Or you put it on the table and say, until I see it with my own two eyes, I'm just going to not, put a whole lot of credence into it. But if you think about it, the people that the people that Bigelow had on the ranch were scientists. Think about this. They were physicists. A lot of these guys were physicists and top top-notch guys in their field that were on the ranch, you know? And so if you think about this, if you think about that, what is that telling you? What is that telling you? You know, there was also an event that was captured in the book about them looking through the scope and seeing the portal open up, and the Bigfoot type creature crawls out of it as well. And he, you know, falls down to the ground, walks, you know, scampers off, walks off, stuff like that. So what, you know, what do you do with that information, people? You know, I don't discard that at all. I add that to my knowledge, my pool of knowledge, and I keep it like a pistol. You know, I keep it at my ready and just pull it out when I need to go back to it to correlate or to remember something that happened to someone else or something like this. But I don't discard those things. All right, so that's what was I thought was very interesting that I wanted to point out to you also, that the shadow thing was silhouetted as a Sasquatch creature in the doorway when they had seen them passing through walls. Crazy, huh? Yeah. All right, you okay? Okay, Cindy Finn, you put boots on the ground and people won't get there too, but we'll call peeps out as a hoaxer. You put boots on the ground and people won't get there too there, but we'll call peeps out as a hoaxer. Not, yeah, I think it's maybe it's a little disjointed. I'm not catching entirely what the question was on that, but and people won't get there. You know, and then also the Scott. I want to say Scott was also talking about the high strangeness. No, was it David Paulides, I believe, was talking about high strangeness recently in one of his videos, I believe. I have come up with my own personal little saying when it comes to high strangeness and Bigfooting and all this. And I just simply say that he was commenting on a comment that Paulides was commenting on a comment I believe he was talking about with Scott, that, you know, discussing going on a show and whether he should not go on a show or not. And then he was basically telling him that, you know, he wouldn't be in control of what was said and they could make you look, you know, stupid or whatever the case may be, which could happen if you go on media. And then that one of the people that he was referring to, I don't know who he was, didn't mention any names, but he referred to someone and said they had 25 years of doing this type of work, and had never had a correlation of some sort with the paranormal and Sasquatch. And for people that make comments like that, I would simply say to them, the chances are, if you can make a statement like that and you can say you've been doing this for 25 years, chances are that you're not being entirely truthful or you haven't gotten close enough to it. You haven't gotten close enough to it, is what I would say to you. And it doesn't mean it doesn't happen at all or there is no correlation. It doesn't mean that at all. So think about the Skinwalker Ranch thing, about what about the Bigelow guy had said, uh, what happened to his guys in the trailer, and totally a high strangeness area, and what other people discuss and what they say in various other places. Sounds like something kind of dimensional thing going on. All right. I have 50 years interest in this and have experienced the strangeness. Chris Kimball. Yeah. Theoretical quantum physics. You're absolutely right. A lot of the physics that has to explain these types of things, what people encounter, a lot of these types of physics hasn't even been dreamed up yet. A lot of the stuff we had no idea what was along until the genius came along called Einstein and Rosenberg and Higgs boson and on the rest of these guys that came out in the last century. All right. So it's all about quantum It's all about quantum physics, in my opinion. Quantum physics is really the only thing that can even remotely explain any of this stuff. And if you think about the very beginnings, all right, in the Bible, we're told that God spoke the universe into existence, all right, just spoke it, just like He breathed the breath of life into man. So if you think about the action of spoke into existence, it's like something suddenly happening, wham, it comes to in existence. And if you think about the universe, I was sitting there and pondering. I was telling my wife and my sister the other day, I said, I've got an idea of why it is the way it is, and why there could be wormholes, you know, these Einstein Rosenberg bridges wormholes, why they're here on the earth. And And if you think about it, the scientists tell us that matter can't be, that matter it can't be destroyed. It just basically changes its shape from one thing to another, and that it's always going to be there. Um, and that the, Tesla was telling us that energy, vibration, and frequency would unlock the keys and the mysteries of the universe, which are so true, more and more and more each and every day. Um, Amazing. Just amazing. Yep. So the entanglement. So everything in the existence of the universe, this is what I think could have caused the entanglement and everything like that. Okay. So they discuss that a particle here and a particle there could have a light year in between them or whatever, and this particle is observed, and so the particle changes polarity, and it turns and flips, and the other particle would exactly do the same thing no matter how far the distance was. And so if you think about that, that would seem to be totally absurd. Completely. It would defy all common sense and all logic when you think about it. That how could a particle with, light years in between instantaneously know or react to what one particle does at an instant? And so if you think about it, and when the universe was spoken into existence, as the Bible says, everything came to be because everything was interacted and intertwined and all part of it. Everything in the universe was all part of everything together. And so, in a sense, everything in the universe is still entangled and entwined with itself. And I think as as the universe probably expanded and moved and goes through the shape, that these dimensional entanglements still exist. They still exist, and they can become contorted and stretched and bent around, and just think of it like, you know like microscopic, or like strings of spaghetti attaching and connecting things of matter together, that's on cosmic scale. And then as part of all that matter and interconnecting, all that stuff going on, think about a cosmic consciousness that is all intertwined with it all, like a cosmic consciousness of an all-knowing. You know, am I describing what God is? I'm just saying, man. It just seems like these are some of the things these are some of the things I sit there as I'm driving and going to work or whatever. I'd sit there and I ponder these things in my mind about how entanglement happens and stuff like that. It's just crazy. It's fascinating. Want to know if you're tagged? Want to know if you're tagged? Jason Smith, use an iPhone to take a close up of your eyes and zoom in on them. If you are tagged, you'll see tiny Sasquatches in your pupils and around your eyes. Okay. Haven't thought about that one. I haven't thought about that. I don't know if you're tagged. Use an iPhone to take a close up of your eyes and then zoom in. Do I have to be do I have to be in the woods when I do this or anything like that? Okay, I'll see. I'll see. I'll see. Like I said, hey, it might sound crazy until it happens to you, until you kind of see otherwise. Uh, Thanks for what you do. We should be grateful. This is so important. You're one of a kind. And thanks for saying that. I just, fe- I just feel I have unfinished work, and my mind just doesn't let me let go of it. I don't know. I drive my family members nuts sometime on wanting to go out, but that's okay. There's no harm in thinking, no harm in developing uh, thought thought experiments. A lot of times I dream up thought experiments as well, and think how things could play out just by thinking it through and stuff like this. And Jason never said I had them around. I don't know which Jason you're referring to. Jason Smith, and are you referring to each other? Maybe it's a side conversation with each other. No, you don't need to be in the woods. Yes, it has happened to me. I know what it sounds crazy, but remember, reality is what beside you and what you think of it. Yeah. Absolutely. Hmm. For all kind of research you and just say when. Um, I have I when Mark left, it was very difficult to find my balance again. It really knocked me off kilter. Um, I made videos that I just never even shown in the aftermath. I don't think I'll probably ever show them. Yeah. Oh, Scott, man. Hmm. Scott was Scott. I'll say that. Okay. All right. Is there anything else? We're gonna have to cut this. We've been on for a while. We're gonna cut this off right here. Let everybody go watch football or whatever they want to watch. And so, if you don't have any more questions, you got half a minute. Let's say a half minute to throw any more final questions, and then we're gonna have to just call it quits. And for now, and then until I'm able to get back out in the swamp again and do some more work. And hopefully Joey will be able to, and hopefully he'll be able to get back on his thing right here. Also, he knows what I'm talking about. All right. Okay. So unless you don't have any more questions, I would thank everybody for their time and thank you for listening to me ramble on and I know I haven't quit and I'm too inquisitive over the subject to just walk away from it and let it go. All right. Take the photo of your eyes. I'm confident. Okay, I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna take a photo of my eyes and I'm gonna look at that and I'm gonna look. I'm gonna look. Am I gonna be scared if I do see something? What if I don't see that? What if I see something else in my eyes? Because a lot of people say my eyes have like they look like cat eyes, and we'll see. Sounds like quantum physics. It must be quantum physics. All right. Hey, everybody, I want to say thanks for your time. And till the next video, everybody take care and do good out there. And thank you very much for watching the Trail of Bigfoot. All right. Bye.